Hello and welcome to the Built in the Bronx podcast. I am your host, Maximilian Hill, and today we have a very special guest. Salif Tankoano is a Lehman College student and star scholar. He's a software developer and he is a global citizen. Salif, thank you for coming on the Built in the Bronx podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, Max. Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate the intro. Fantastic. Thank you.
Very good. So, how has this semester treated you?
It's been amazing so far. Getting to learn about data visualization. It's been a fantastic semester so far, reviewing some concepts from data structures and also kind of like learning more about the data visualization side of things with Tableau and tools like R, and it's fantastic.
So, yeah, tell me what have you built some visualizations yet?
Yeah, so far we've been working on a final project, I would say, related to car collisions in New York City. And it's been fantastic for me to kind of see the data and see how we could actually make things more appealing visually and actually show more data to the public.
Very interesting. I know we've worked closely with our friends at the data school. Give a shout out to Mel Nieri and Colin at the data school. They had beautiful new offices, thinking Union Square, and we're trying to build a hiring pipeline there. Put a bunch of Lehman students at the data school. So that's definitely one thing we're working on. Tell me about what else you got going on. I know you're graduating this semester, so you got to be ramping up, right?
Yeah, ramping up for graduation. It's been a fantastic experience at Lehman. And so far I've been working on a bunch of things, especially with CUNY Tech Prep, preparing a new project that I have coming up that we have to present on May 30th, related to having an online marketplace for students to actually become freelancers, kind of allow them to have their own services out there and actually get more experience that way.
Yeah, I think these days freelancing it's definitely uh, a lucrative option. Not for everyone, right? Because freelancing income is not regular, right? It's not like a regular job where you get a check every 2 weeks. It really depends on your if you could get clients, and a lot. I mean, a lot of it's sales, but these days I think entrepreneurship has become so popular because there's been so many layoffs in tech. So if you're fortunate enough to have a job, I think it is a good move to have like a freelancing side hustle. That if these days I feel like in tech it's not a matter of if you'll get laid off, it's a matter of when. And when that happens, it's nice to have a little freelancing thing that you have a piece of, right?
Totally, I agree. I think it's a fantastic opportunity, and also recently, kind of having the entrepreneurial mindset, I would say, is a fantastic thing to have as a computer science student, and taking part of actually the Blackstone Launchpad program at Lehman has been a fantastic thing for me. Learning from Floreo Labs, from great professors like Professor Cam Flowers, who's just amazing and has been teaching us so much about entrepreneurship.
Very good. Yeah, I know the Blackstone Launchpad has been very popular. Tell me a little bit more about your experience with Blackstone Launchpad.
Yeah, so we've been working on our ideas of coming up with businesses that we want to see in the world, and I've been working on a problem that I see everywhere related to computer science students. I saw a bunch of my peers ending up underemployed after graduation, and I was just like, whoa, nobody actually talks about this. Like, what do you do at that point? And I wanted to find a way for students to gain more experience and actual experience on the job, as opposed to a bunch of solutions that are out there that I don't actually offer this opportunity to get the experience on the job. And with the help of the students that we have at Lehman, we are trying to build a fantastic platform for the students to have an opportunity to get experience while working with small businesses in the Bronx and across the five boroughs, building great software that these businesses actually need.
Very cool. Very cool. I know underemployment is a real issue these days. And yeah, I mean, it is a shame if you see some students that graduate and they end up underemployed. So I think you're solving a great problem and you'll be helping a lot of people. So wishing you the best of luck with that.
Thank you
So
very
one of the things I like about Lehman is the international flavor. and you actually have an interesting, I guess I'm not sure what the proper term is, but you came here from a country called Burkina Faso, right? So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Burkina Faso, and it's in West Africa. I always say it's a bit bigger than Belgium, um, but it's a fantastic country. Also one of the poorest countries also in the world. So kind of living in New York and also seeing the contrast in terms of like wealth from New York City to Burkina Faso, you could see a tremendous amount of differences. And in many ways, I think it's eye-opening for somebody like me to get a chance to be here and see the difference and kind of grow my mindset also. And it's been a great journey for me, even just seeing the things in terms of how people actually go about their business and how much how actually people handle their time, I would say. Time kind of flies differently, I would say, from Burkina Faso to New York. I don't know how to actually explain it. I would say that time just goes by much faster here. You don't have the same grasp of time.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's so fascinating to me. So you've spent time, a significant portion of your time in the poorest country in the world, and you spent a significant portion of your time in one of the wealthiest, busiest cities in the world. So you have experienced the gamut. I've spent some time abroad in some really poor countries, and it always makes me appreciate just how lucky we are to live and work here because there is so much opportunity here, and a lot of things that we take for granted, other people in other countries would would love to have. And I didn't really truly understand that until I started traveling. So that's why whenever I get, an undergrad that comes to me and asks me for advice, I say travel because it's the best education that you can get. Better than anything you'll have in a classroom or a virtual classroom or anything you learn from your professors because you're learning on your own. I actually
So
just got back from Dubai, and that
yeah,
was that was really pretty cool trip. I got to meet a lot of interesting people in tech, some people who are hiring, and actually, I just had a conversation today with one of the, I think he was the CEO of a company, and he's looking for students who have experience with Rust programming. Now, I don't know anything about Rust. Do you know anything about Rust programming?
I've heard a lot about Rust. In terms of efficiency, I would say the tech community has been talking about Rust a lot.
Yeah. So I know that if any students are listening, they're wondering for advice. Some of these tech conferences are great places to meet people. You have to just be brave enough to just put yourself out there and meet these people. They're not, they're just humans, right? The worst they say is no, they don't give you an interview, right? But I think every time I go to one of these conferences, I always leave with some interesting contacts. So hopefully we place some more Lehman students there, in jobs at great tech companies. Um, so Burkina Faso, then you went to a couple places before you came to New York, correct?
Yes, I went to a couple places. Actually, when I was about 7 years old, that's when I actually had my first trip outside of the country. My parents actually went to Belgium, and we had an opportunity to stay in Belgium for about 5 years. It was a great experience for me to kind of see something different. First time actually seeing snow, what it looks like and stuff. So that was really cool. And after that, we actually went to France, had an opportunity to stay in France with my aunt and her husband. So that was a great thing. My cousins, having them around. Um,
You speak French?
yeah, I speak French.
Ça
Yeah,
va,
ça va très bien.
enchanté.
Enchanté de vous rencontrer.
Yeah, I spent a week in Paris, and it was really interesting trip. I enjoyed my time there. Got to see the Eiffel Tower and the Sacre Coeur, which I thought was more enjoyable than the Eiffel Tower for me personally.
Okay, I see.
So how many languages do you speak?
Now I'm only speaking with, I would say, three languages,
Okay,
English, French, and a local language in Burkina Faso that's called Mohe, from my mother's side.
very cool. Um, so we're gonna hit you with some questions. If you could have a giant billboard on that's overlooking the Cross Bronx Expressway, and it says 10 words or less, what would it be?
That's a great question. I think I would use this quote that I heard, when the tide rises, all ships rise.
Very good. Uh, what is a book that has influenced you greatly?
Hmm. I would say there was a cartoon that I used to read when I was about 10, and it's called The Adventures of Tintin. So that's from a Belgian cartoonist named Hergé, and that influenced the way I see things a lot.
Okay. When you feel overwhelmed or unfocused, what do you do?
Man, I just have to play basketball and get outside.
Speaking of basketball, have you been following the Knicks at all lately?
Yes, great victory last night. I had my money on the Knicks, so I was very happy to see them winning.
Yeah, I tell you, the Knicks have struggled for a long time, so it is really refreshing to see them doing this well.
Yeah, on the big stage.
What is an unusual habit or absurd thing that you love?
Ooh, I would say I have a knack for like looking for how to actually learn things from scratch. There's an aspect of learning how to make something from the actual from actually starting from nothing that I love, because it kind of looks like creating something from nothing, and it's kind of magic to me. For example, when I'm looking for like for when I'm trying to create things for like a web project that I have, instead of using a library, for example, I would use a library to create like a slider, for example, and it wouldn't be actually the way that I want it. And I would go into the weeds of like, how can I create my own? Because this is actually limited. It doesn't allow me to have like my actual slider look the way I want it. And I would go into the weeds of how to create one. And when I actually have the final product, I'm just like, this is fantastic. That's what I was looking for.
Very good. How has a failure set you up for later success?
Well, I would mention the fact that I actually participated in the hackathon from Postman that we had at Lehman, and my team didn't win. Um, and just looking back at what happened during that hackathon, I always try to learn from what I did in the past. And I was just like, well, I want to learn more. There's so many things that I could have done better to actually help my team win. And that summer, I got so much better just because of the fact that I was motivated by the fact that I didn't actually help my team as much as I wanted to help. And that allowed me to just gain so much more knowledge about web development and get into the weeds even more. And I think that whenever I have a failure, I always bounce even higher.
That's good because I think the best, if you look at the people who have the best careers, the best lives, they've had a lot of failures.
Totally.
I mean, failures that don't knock you out of the game, let's say, right? Uh, so no, that's really all really great. Um, is there anything that you'd like to promote? Shit. Hold on.